Welcome back. Justice has finally caught up these three men linked to one of Nigeria's most shocking school adoption cases. More than 2 months after dozens of pupils and teachers were kidnapped from schools in Oyo State, a federal high court in Abuja has sentenced 3 convicted terrorists to life imprisonment. But while the verdict has been welcomed by many Nigerians, others believe it does not go far enough. Some community leaders are openly asking why the convicts were spared the death penalty. So, does this judgment send a strong enough message to terrorist groups operating across Nigeria? Or will the debate over punishment continue long after this case is closed? The Federal High Court in Abuja on Thursday convicted and sentenced 3 men connected to the adoption of pupils and teachers in Oriri local government area of Oyo State.
Defendants were arrested in connection with the heinous crime that were committed in Oyo State against innocent children and school teachers. And today, under the direction of the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation, the matter having been thoroughly reviewed, were filed in court, and we produced the defendants today before my lord at the Federal Court. The court had the allegation the state preferred against the defendant. They therefore, having confirmed that they understood those allegations, chose to plead guilty to count 4, count 6, count 7 to 10, and pleaded not guilty in respect of count 1, 2, and 3. So we went ahead to review the fact of the case and to call witness, tender available and relevant evidence, which the court relied on and convicted those at the first, second, and third defendant. My lord had equally adjourned trial of the remaining count 1, 2, 3 to the 16th and 17th of September.
The convicts are Abdulrazak Umar, also known as Abu Khalifa or Abu Khalid, Yunus Musa, also known as Yunus Abin Musa, and Shamsu Adamusani, also known as Abu Itza, were found guilty after pleading guilty to terrorism-related offenses. Justice Salim Ibrahim, who presided over the case, sentenced all 3 men to life imprisonment. The court further ordered that the sentence would take effect from the date of their arrest, meaning the time they have already spent in custody will count towards their imprisonment. The federal government had arraigned the 3 defendants on a 10-count charge bordering on conspiracy, aiding kidnapping, concealing information about terrorists, and professing membership of the prescribed Darul Salam sect, an affiliate of the Ansaru terrorist group. During the proceedings, the 3 defendants admitted the charges against them. Before sentencing, their lawyers appealed to the court for mercy. Counsel argued that the men were first-time offenders and had demonstrated remorse by pleading guilty. The defense also maintained that the offenses for which they were convicted were not directly connected to carrying out the actual kidnapping. The lawyer further pleaded with the courts to consider their personal circumstances, explaining that the convicts were married, had children, and also had elderly parents who depended on them for support. He urged the judge to give them what he described as a second chance at life by imposing a lighter sentence. However, the prosecution strongly opposed the request. Government lawyers argued that the convict knowingly concealed information about those responsible for planning and carrying out the adoption. According to the prosecution, they were aware of the operation but deliberately failed to alert security agencies, thereby assisting the terrorist network. After considering both arguments, Justice Ibrahim rejected the plea for leniency and imposed life imprisonment on each of the 3 defendants. The case stems from the mass adoption that shocked the nation on May 15, 2026. Armed men invaded 3 schools in Oriri local government area of Oyo State and adopted 39 pupils along with 6 teachers. The victims were taken into a forest hideout, triggering a massive security operation involving multiple agencies. For weeks, the fate of the pupils and teachers remained uncertain as security forces intensified efforts to locate the kidnappers and rescue the victims. Relief finally came on July 10, when troops, the Department of State Services, and other security agencies successfully rescued all the adopted victims during a coordinated operation. Following the rescue, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, through his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, announced that security forces had dismantled parts of the kidnappers' networks. Several suspects were arrested, while others were neutralized during the operation. The federal government subsequently filed terrorism-related charges against those believed to have supported or facilitated the kidnapping. Although Thursday's judgment marks an important milestone in the prosecution of the case, reactions from the affected community show that not everyone believes justice has been fully served. The Elisinele of Isienele, Oba Tajuddin Adeoye, criticized the sentence, arguing that life imprisonment was too lenient for crimes of such magnitude. According to the monarch, the convict should have received the death penalty. He expressed concern that a future government could decide to grant amnesty or release prisoners, potentially allowing the convicts to regain their freedom someday. He also pointed to the enormous human cost of the operation, noting that before the pupils and teachers were rescued, members of the Nigerian Army, the police, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Amotekun, local hunters, vigilantes, and others reportedly lost their lives while confronting the kidnappers. In his view, imposing the maximum punishment will serve as a stronger deterrent to terrorist groups and criminal gangs operating across Nigeria. Not everyone shared that opinion. The el-rufai of Pamo, Oba Ayobami Ogumakin, adopted a more measured position, while expressing satisfaction that the court had delivered judgments. He said it was ultimately the responsibility of the judiciary to determine the appropriate punishment under Nigerian law. A resident of Oriri local government area, identified simply as Kasura, also expressed disappointment with the sentence. She argued that considering the suffering inflicted on the victims and the lives lost during rescue efforts, life imprisonment did not adequately reflect the gravity of the offenses. The differing reactions illustrate the difficult balance courts often face between applying the law as it exists and addressing public expectations for justice in terrorism-related cases. For the federal government, the conviction represents another step into its campaign against terrorism and organized kidnapping. Authorities have repeatedly stated that individuals who support terrorist organizations, conceal information, or assist criminal networks will face prosecution under Nigeria's anti-terrorism laws, even if they did not personally participate in carrying out an attack. As security agencies continue searching for other suspects linked to the Oriri school adoption, Thursday's judgment sends a clear legal message that those who aid terrorist activities can face severe consequences. For the family of the rescued pupils and teachers, however, the emotional scars left by the kidnapping may take much longer to heal. While the court has delivered its verdicts against 3 convicted men, the broader challenge of protecting schools, dismantling terrorist networks, and preventing future mass adoptions remain one of Nigeria's most urgent national security priorities. Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you find this report informative, kindly like, share, and subscribe for more news reports. I'm Chidera Isom. Thanks for watching. Do have a beautiful day.